Hey, Luke, thanks so much for joining me today. You're a brand new client on the app that's been in development for about a year now. And you and I are just going to kind of compare notes and go over some of the major features. And you give me a little feedback. You're still in your trial period, first week. And what do you think so far?
I think it's a pretty good tool. There's a lot of stuff out there, so there's a lot of different. Everybody's trying to get your business and get you and get you designed. And I think the best part really is the relational part between, I see you at the gym, and then the app kind of reflects the same things that you and I talked about. So like you mentioned it to me, it's like that coach in your pocket kind of thing. So if I have a question, if I'm at the gym, I say, "Hey, Jason, what's an alternative to this lift, or what's something that you're like, oh yeah, look at this right here," and you don't have a problem with that. It's not a full on session with you. It's just, hey, I got this. This came up. You know what I do. So that part is good for me, and I'm a big data person. I like to record all the stuff. So that's what I do for a living. So that's enough. It's just an occupational hazard. So I like the idea of putting in the weights and the reps that you're doing, and those types of things, and keeping track of it. So that's worked really well for me.
Yeah. Well, something I've found, for people who are new to the gym or trying to get back into fitness, tracking your progress along the way is invaluable. Just to, I can't remember what I did in the last session or last week, and to try to keep up with other people's numbers is impossible. So it's something I started with my in-person clients, but then I also envisioned it as being a standalone product that hypothetically, I do have some people I don't work with in person that are doing these programs, but hypothetically, anyone anywhere could purchase a membership and have a workout, a meal plan, some communication tools. And we're going to, like I said, go over all the features. And I'm going to do this for you just as a, kind of a customer service type thing, just to answer any questions you have specifically, since you have been using the platform for a few days, and just get your feedback on things. So you mentioned training. That's the biggest part of it. When I'm looking at the different tabs here, I'm giving. So okay, let me back up a little bit. When someone purchases an in-person session, I think this is probably typical of most gyms. We're talking about 30 minutes to an hour of one-on-one interaction. Um, I normally recommend to people that they make exercise a daily habit. And so if you're doing some type of workout practically every day, or most days, we'll say 6 days a week, that gets to be cost prohibitive for a lot of people. The majority of people are probably not willing to pay for six one-on-one training sessions a week, which I don't blame them. What I found was that selling training packages for a health club, I would recommend 6 days a week. People would usually purchase one or two sessions per week with their trainer. And as a consequence, they would just come to the gym once or twice a week and work with their trainer. So I felt like this would empower individuals to do the workout on their own, even on the days when they didn't have myself or another trainer right by their side, which I think is an important part of the learning process, is just being able to figure out, the bigger patterns. And I see that you've been very consistent so far. So you're about a week or two in. You said you liked the tracking feature and the variety of being able to substitute different exercises and so forth. Anything else that really jumps out at you as far as the training part of this program goes?
I just today actually clicking around on it and trying to find some of the features of it. There are some things like you said, like you can go back and look at your personal best. You can go back and look and see where you were. Now we're not all lifting to get to, where I can bench, 400 pounds. We're trying to get fit. We're trying to, do some different things, but it still helps me even, I mean, and this has probably been, like you said, 2 weeks roughly I've been in that using it, or at least talking to you. And I can see just from the last time I did my sets today, the last time I did them, that I'm already increasing in weight. So already increasing things. I could definitely feel it today, over the way I was the first time. So it's immediate response. So I look at the weights, I look at the gains, I look at where I need to be, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, so now I can feel it. I don't necessarily see it in like my weight loss or anything like that because it's really early. But I that portion is nice. The substitution of different, because sometimes you're in the gym, you can't find a machine to use. So looking at something different and swapping it out, an exercise swap out, or I've even used the functions where you add a set to something or remove a set because for whatever time. It's nice because you can take that out of there, and then without much effort, and it still tracks all the stuff that you've done. So, I mean, those have been a lot of the functions that I use as far as the training side.
Yeah. So just the fact that it's customizable to a degree. Another point that I wanted to make is that this is the Fat Adapted Strength Training Program. So we've got some weight training and we've got some cardio too. And the whole program is designed to help people reprogram their metabolism. It is a process, but keeping those records along the way is definitely going to help you with that. And that's the nature of progressive resistance. That was a point I wanted to make. So often, I think I said this to you in one of our early interactions, we get in the habit of just coming in and doing 3 sets of 8 with 35 pounds over and over and over. We don't continue to progress. And having a clear record of what you did on previous training allows you to set short-term goals. And the way I phrase that is, the outcome, progressive resistance, you're going to either increase the weight or the number of repetitions or some combination of the two over time. And that's really the only way you're going to continue to progress. So that's good insight on your part. I'm glad you pointed that out to me. So the next tab I have here is tasks. And just examples of tasks would be things like updating body metrics on a regular basis, beginning with a starting in-body scan. You and I were able to do this in person. If someone's watching this and they're thinking about becoming a remote client, they could just supply me with beginning progress photos as well as body weight from their scale at home or whatever tools you have at your disposal. Or there is a database on the InBody website. I believe that's inbodyusa.com. I'm listed there as a testing center. So wherever anybody's located, they can go to InBody and search for a testing center near them. There's probably a gym or a fitness center or club or some maybe even a medical facility nearby that has an InBody, and just email me your results, or I can pull it up off of the InBody app, and that way I can go over the numbers with somebody because those. And I always point out to people from my own experience. I had an eye-opening experience. I shared my before and after photos with you, stepping on a scale at the doctor's office and finding out that I was obese and that I was beginning to have some hypertension and some other problems that were starting to crop up is what compelled me to get on my fitness and weight loss journey to begin with. So I think having that data is a big part of the process of change. We've got a clear record of it right here in your portal so that we can chart your progress over time and have some kind of follow up, break your 3 months or yearly goals up into smaller segments that are actionable for you on a weekly basis. So just one example of a task. That's their phraseology, not mine.
Sure.
Any insights on that? What
Well,
that?
I was actually just thinking about this today because, like I said, if you step on the scale, your body weight's not necessarily moving. And depending on, I don't weigh every day. There was a point where I was scaling every day, but now it's usually like once a week or whatever. But
That's
um,
what I.
I think at the end it may or may not even be the scale, the weight is the issue. So the in-body thing is different because the in-body does percentage of body fat, muscle mass, those types of things. So once you start to see the scale start to slide, you may end up, only a couple pounds lost, but you may end up with more muscle mass and losing that body fat. So, but I think your program that's tailored towards the fast thing. You and I've talked at length about what you're burning, how you're burning, what you're eating, and what exercises to do or don't do based on what you're eating, high carb, low carb, those types of things. And that's in my head now. So when I eat my meal, when I do my meals, yesterday I did all I could for to get to my protein goals, and I was still 70 grams short of my protein goals. so so I'm like, I got to eat a bowl of cottage cheese and to to get me something to that point, because I
Right.
want to continue to have the weight training burning that type of fat. So that the
Absolutely. Yeah.
education piece of it was like huge for me. So that's
Okay.
but like the in-body thing I think is great because it's not just, what you weigh on the scale. It's going to be
Oh, not at all. Not
where
at
it's
all. And that has
distributed.
been I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That has been so overemphasized, the weight loss aspect of things. So, yeah, as I mentioned to you, we want to make sure we're losing body fat, not muscle.
Right.
Our goal is to preserve as much muscle as we can, maybe even increase the amount of muscle you have. That would be an even better outcome because muscle is metabolism. The more muscle you have, the more metabolically active you're going to be, the stronger and healthier you're going to be. Just a host of benefits there. So
Yep.
that's one task is updating your numbers. Another task would be monthly admin. It's called monthly administration fee. That's a $30 fee just to cover the overhead here as a like a user access or membership type thing. And then if you do want to, for you personally or anybody who's watching or listening, if you want to do any one-on-one consultations, those would be over and above your monthly fee. But I don't mind fielding some basic questions, and I'm trying to build up a bigger library of videos and articles and things for questions that come up frequently, so that I can just direct someone to the answer or the resource. For that reason, we do have forums. I'll explain that a little later on. Let's see, the next tab here is metrics. Metrics actually is part of the task, so that's a chart. You'll be able to see exactly where you got started with body weight, body fat percentage, number of steps per day. There's a lot of metrics that it keeps up with. It can import your data from other wearable devices you may have, step counters and things like that. The next huge feature here is food journal. Now, aside from macros and meal plans, these are the 3 points on your nutrition end of things. And you've already alluded to the education piece earlier. Usually, what I do is start someone off with the food guidelines handout. I think you and I went over that, or I sent you a copy by email. I have mine up on the refrigerator right now, always within easy access. And it's just the basics of good nutrition. I'm not going to use too much time on today's interview to go over that, but it's an idea of the types of foods you should prioritize most of the time and what you want to limit the rest of the time. You know the old saying, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I'm more about trying to teach people how to fish, so to speak, how to make better choices based on these different types of principles, and not just so okay, bullet point, here's what's on the diet, here's what's not on the diet type of thing. I wish I could come up with a perfect plan for everyone, but guaranteed I'll give a food and somebody will say, oh, I don't like cottage cheese, or I don't like tuna, or whatever. So here's a list, and you can choose. Not that that's ever happened, um, but it's a category of
Right.
foods. So macros. I'm assigning everyone a set number of grams. You said something earlier about your protein goal. You had to eat some cottage cheese to hit your target. Exact grams of protein, fat, and carbohydrate to target on a daily basis and a weekly basis. And again, we're using a cycling approach. So that's 5 days low during the week, low carb. 2 days on the weekend, there's an opportunity there to do some higher carb refeed or so-called cheat meals. So that's what's really flexible about the exact plan that I'm using. Now, Food Journal, I see you've been using Food Journal, and I get a little report every day, even if they're just descriptions or photos. Maybe you don't feel like maybe people don't feel like tracking exact number of grams of this or that. I understand that's a lot of detail, can get overwhelming. But by taking out your camera or taking your phone and just consciously taking a photo of everything you eat and sending it to your coach, I believe most people will automatically make better decisions. Do you think that's been the case so far with you?
That's probably true. The one aspect of it that's you and I talked about a little bit is that the as far as like a nutritional tracking app or whatever, I use a different app for that because I want to see the macros and everything that I'm hitting.
Sure.
And I need to do better at this part, what you're talking about, because it makes more sense. Like you're saying, taking pictures, put it in there. You said, and I'm getting to that point where if you look at something, you could tell about how many grams of protein is in there. If I have a half
Right.
a cup of cottage cheese and a can of tuna, I know that's about 60 grams of protein. So is that what I need? So that part will be helpful. I haven't done it like I'm supposed to. Like I said, I'm tracking my stuff in a food app, a different food app, but um, you know, that's the one thing I would say that I need to do better as far as this app goes of putting things in so you can see it and kind of understand what I'm doing too. But yeah, the accountability piece, 100%. So as soon as you
Awesome.
start doing that, you're like, okay, I can't take a picture of these, you know, nachos, loaded nachos, because that doesn't fit my scheme right now. So
Right. Well, so I am a certified personal trainer, but I'm also nutritionist and a health coach certification, along with my own personal results. I feel like I'm doing people a huge disservice by not giving them all the tools that they need to change their habits, their lifestyle, the way they're eating, and because that's what it really takes. If somebody comes into the gym and says, "Hey, I want to lose 20 pounds or drop 10% body fat or whatever the metric is," and they're thinking that exercise alone is going to get them there, it's not reality. Some people say it's 80-20 more on nutrition. I think it's 50-50. If you're eating a certain way, but you're not working out, or you're doing an exercise program, but you're not addressing your eating habits, either way, you're going to get about half the results. So if you want all the results, you do both. That's that hammer and chisel, right? You got to have both of those to create that sculpture that you got in mind.
right,
And the mindset, to make it stick. And then that part of it is more in the realm of psychology, we'll say, which is health coaching, is just reminding people exactly what they want, what they said, when they wanted it, and most importantly, why do they want it? I always come back to that reason because that is what's going to override that tendency on those days we don't feel like it. We'd rather skip the gym and eat some, mac and cheese or whatever. We don't want to stay on our program. You got to have a bigger reason that's going to keep your head in the game when those temptations come up. Hopefully I'm providing people with strategies through my YouTube and my social media. I do put a lot of my own personal ideas out there, what has helped me to be successful and what I've seen to work for a lot of clients that I've interacted with over the years. So it's kind of food for thought there.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So then those are most of the features. I did want to talk about forums a little bit. I don't know that you've been active in the forums, but these are places for me to just sort of curate different ideas. If we're doing group challenges, which is something we do, you still need to join the closed group on Facebook. I think there's a more group interaction that happens on that platform than anywhere else. I do have people who are active in the community forums on the app, but it's less than the involvement through the Facebook group because Facebook's like a belly button now. Everybody's got a Facebook. Your
Right.
aunt, your great aunt, whatever. Everybody has one. They may not be using it, but it's there, and that's something that allows me to, I feel like, connect with clients on a more personal level because I'm also your friend. And if we're Facebook friends, I can see, the type of people you're associating with and what sort of things you're doing and, outside of the gym to just be that, quiet voice that helps you to remember exactly what you want and why you want it and just do more of the right thing
Right.
most of the time. But the fast track online course is there right now. I've been uh, diligent about posting content daily for that. I'm creating this video course right now. It is on YouTube currently. At some point, it will be a standalone digital product, and I'm not going to continue to just give it away free indefinitely. But for now, it's out there for free. So if anybody watching this wants to join that fast track program, that's fat adapted strength training, I've got all the videos up on my YouTube channel, which is linked in the comments or wherever you're watching this. So, Luke, I think if you don't have anything else specific you wanted to talk about, I think we've got enough to go on for a little podcast interview. Have you ever done a podcast before?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
My wife and I
cool.
have some little thing that we do
Yeah.
about our softball journeys and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah. Tell me about the softball a little bit. You mentioned that so that's your big recreation or your hobby, your pastime, and
yeah,
I'm approaching your coaching as coaching an athlete because, for all intents and purposes,
yeah.
you're out there playing these games on a regular basis. So how's things going with that?
Not too bad. So we're in the just starting our new. We played one tournament this year, but I play anywhere from about 180 to 200 games a year. So that counts all league games and tournaments, and we probably play 15 to 20 tournaments a year. So that could be anywhere, 5, 6 games a day, those types of things. And that's kind of the premise behind this. Once you start to get to a point like my body, I was up at 300 pounds. I'm 6'1". I was at 300 pounds. I was still doing what I needed to do, to play and be active, but I'm also 56 years old. So I want to continue to play, until at a high level too. That's the other thing. So until I'm older. So last couple of years I played major plus softball, which it doesn't mean anything to a whole lot of people unless you're a softball person, but or major gold. But that's a pretty much an upper level of 50-year-old softball. And I want to continue to play and be effective at that level. And I couldn't do it. I play infield a lot. So one of those things is the bending and flexibility and, to be able to do those things and then throwing and hitting and, all of that works into the routine pretty well. But it still
Yeah.
wasn't enough. I take BP, I hit, 300, 400 balls a week, two, 3 times a week. And it still wasn't hitting it. I watch what I eat. It still wasn't hitting it. So I started adding them when you and I got together. It was like, okay, so now this is the program you could do. I had a gym at home kind of, with just
Mhm.
dumbbells, those types of things, but it doesn't keep you where you want to be. That's good if I can't get to the gym and I do a quick, workout there, but I'd rather get in my car. Now I've been coming in the morning before I go to work, and then you're ready to go start your day off right. And I'm not a morning person at all. If there's a softball tournament, I'm up and ready to go, but
Yeah.
normally I'm not a morning person. So
I agree. I wake up early, but that's about all I'm going to do is just be awake.
yeah.
I'm more of a mid-morning person.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's where I would be too. But
Yeah.
my wife always says when there's a softball tournament, it doesn't matter. We get up,
Mhm.
we take our camper, so we camp in the parking lots at
Oh,
these venues. So I can
cool.
literally get up in the morning for an 8 o'clock game, but I can get up at 6:30 and be
Right.
ready to go, so I can stretch and warm up and do things that I need to do too. But
That's awesome.
sometimes it starts your day off right when you get in the gym, and I just feel better about
Oh,
doing that. So that's been a lot. That's been a big help for me. But yeah, we're like I said, we're just getting started. We get tournaments. I mean, all the way through December or November timeframe. So pretty much don't stop with that.
no. And, I'm confident the results you get from this program are going to help your performance there in softball, in your business, with your family and your marriage. Every aspect of your life is impacted positively by just deciding on a better outcome and doing the things that are required to actually get there. So I applaud your efforts thus far for really engaging in the process. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation today. This is going to help a lot of people know about these basic features. And I'm going to go ahead and just sign off here. You and I can talk a little bit afterwards. To everybody out there who's watching, if you want to sign up for a program like this or even do a free video consult like the one we've just had here, just visit direct.me/reshape. I'd be happy to get it on the calendar for you. Luke, thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thanks.